As the world fell, each of us in our own way was broken. It was hard to know who was more crazy.
This is Immortan Joe, one of the most evil men in fiction. He is a cancerous, destructive menace who warped Viking mythology so he could have a suicidal army. His gas mask is made of horse teeth. And this is what he looks like when he sleeps. Now, I'm sure you're just sick and tired of editorials praising Fury Road. Like, how many different ways do we need to hear this movie is good? But I disrespectfully disagree. I love this movie to death and will probably never tire of reading or hearing things about it. So here's another think piece to add to the innumerable pile, this one about monster design. There are several schools of thought when it comes to monster design. The most common methods of approaching are the man as monster and the unknowable evil. You don't see a lot of movies about the second group outside of the ghost story subgenre because film, as a visual medium, struggles with things you can't understand since what the fuck does it look like is a pretty big part of understanding. The former group, where the monster's closeness to our own humanity is what scares us, is far more common in film. But you probably already know this. The fact that Dracula and the Wolfman and Jason Voorhees are representative of some aspect of us isn't really some grand secret locked in the film world's underground bunker of mystery. Today I specifically want to focus on one aspect of humanizing a monster: how it sleeps. There are few moments in an organism's life when it is more vulnerable than when it's asleep. You're unconscious with all your senses limited, and by necessity you relax all your muscles. Just about anything looks far less threatening when it's sleeping. And your monster design has fundamentally failed if you can't imagine how your creature would sleep. Yes, your unholy spike monster with 10-story swords for hands may be intimidating, but it's also inherently goofy looking. Where do the blades go when it lays down? Aren't those spikes uncomfortable and hard to move with? Now, this doesn't necessarily mean you have to show the monster sleeping. Godzilla is never seen sleeping in the films, but its upright T-Rex design implies that it rests like similarly shaped animals. I was able to find this comic panel of Godzilla sleeping, and I also highly recommend looking up sleeping kangaroos in your own time. They are precious. Probably the best sleeping monster moment in all of cinema comes towards the end of Alien, the first one. Ripley thinks she's made it out of there alive, and then BAM! Xenomorph arm! But what's this? The alien's not attacking. It seems groggy and... oh my god, the little mouth yawned! So, here is Joe, a man who holds no value for any life other than his own. People are property to him. His warriors are little more than spears, and his wives nothing more than baby factories for his legacy. He is the embodiment of the objectification of people, the theme of the movie that was branded on the goddamn walls. He is a monster in every sense of the word, misshapen and cancerous in body and thinking. This literal embodiment of toxic masculinity still needs to take a power nap in the middle of chasing down his sex slaves. Joe taking a nap is the most human moment for him in the entire film. When Precious gets run over, he stops the entire pursuit to cradle her corpse, but he doesn't actually care. Once the doctor shows up, he kills Precious for the off chance his child might survive. You get a sense of his weakness in his introduction with all the Vader-esque medical equipment he must wear and pulsing sores on his obviously tired and old body, but his face is intentionally hidden during this sequence to build his mystique. You don't see him until he has donned his horse teeth mask and becomes the monster. And it's also worth noting that the most vulnerable moment for Joe comes just before the climactic, epic final car chase that ends in his eventual death. And even in death, he's never humanized. His mask is ripped away, and we don't see him again until his lifeless corpse is flopped out on the hood of his own monster-trucked muscle car. There's nothing to this man but his own horrific worldview, and once he no longer has the power to enforce it, he is truly dead. The beast has been slain. The humanizing moment we get from Joe napping isn't meant to make him likable or relatable. This man is evil, and we are meant to hate everything he is. It's meant to make him real, someone we should fear because he could exist. Yes, he has his own suicide squad and talks about people like he's ordering a sandwich, but he needs his shut-eye, just like any other person, just like you. The evil of Immortan Joe sleeps inside all of us, and we must remain watchful of our worst impulses lest he wake up.